Hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. So, I just want to say to everyone, thank you so much for allowing us to do what we do here at Movie Lovers Unite. If this is your first time seeing us on the channel or listening to us on the podcast. Welcome. We do welcome you into our community. If you want to, reach out to me at movieloversunite at gmail.com. If you guys want to go ahead and chat with me a little bit or whatever, go on ahead. You're more than welcome to. But I just want to say thank you so much for listening to us, watching us on YouTube, and watching our trailer reactions and stuff like that too. But if it wasn't for you guys, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing today. And that is getting to review a new John Travolta movie that is not going to be pushed out until the 26th of April. And that movie is called Cash Out. But also, too, thank you for everyone that follows us on TikTok and getting an early access screener wouldn't be possible without you guys and that support. Also, thanks to Harpoon Productions and Sabian Films for the screener copy. We thank you so much for that. But when you look at this movie and you watch this movie, I was intrigued at the fact that we actually have John Travolta in this movie, and I was let down with it. And I'll just go ahead and give a little bit of synopsis, and then we'll go into the whole entire plot line. So basically, it's about this guy who's tempted by what could be his biggest score ever. Professional thief Mason joins forces with his younger brother to rob a bank. However, when the heist goes awry, the thieves find themselves trapped inside, surrounded by SWAT teams. The FBI and Interpol things get even more tense when Mason eventually talks to the lead negotiator, his former lover. So, what I have to say is this: whenever it comes down to stuff, I like my characters to be fleshed out a little bit. I like to actually establish who these characters are, give a little bit of background of who they are, especially when you're doing a heist job. You want to care about what they're doing and how they got to this point and how long they've been working this heist job. No, they just go on ahead. They throw you in at the few minutes of this movie, and they're already doing a heist job. We already know that John Travolta is going to be good at what he does because he's the main star. But he doesn't really. They don't really show us anything. And what I mean by that is, okay, uh, with Mason's character planning any kind of he doesn't show any planning out any kind of heist at all. There isn't any lead up to the first heist job that we see at the start of the film. When we are introduced to Garad's team, there isn't any kind of lead up to meeting them or how long they had been working with Mason, like I mentioned. Instead, we are led to believe that they have been together for a long time. And I don't like that. I don't like the fact that, you have a movie, you're being first introduced to these characters, and you're just being thrown in to the pack of wolves and hoping that we would actually enjoy this and not have any kind of structure, any kind of background to who these characters are, why we should care about them, why they're doing a job or anything like that. And that's bad. I really wanted to care about these characters, and I don't really care about them. I really don't. And if you don't care about the characters and everything, at least I can try to maybe root for maybe the situations within the movie itself to get better. But this is not one of those movies. This is not what I had pictured it in my mind on what I thought I would be getting. And also, too, Kristen Davis is in this movie. She plays Amelia Deckard, who's actually John Travolta's former lover, who happens to work in the FBI. She winds up trying to arrest him during this heist, very first heist job, and he goes, "Well, I guess we're just gonna have to go to Plan B." And I was like, "Oh no, Plan B is very bad. What do we do about Plan B?" Oh, it'd be great if we knew what Plan A was before we got down to Plan B, and to why these characters are afraid of Plan B. But instead, they don't do that. They don't do that. We wind up seeing these cars go into the ocean, and next thing you know, you see Anton, who's played by Quavo, and he go, they wind up getting out of this truck, and they wind up swimming onto shore. Then you see all of a sudden it goes. I want to know how Mason winded up getting out of the car and getting out of the whole entire thing with his former lover, because all of a sudden it just goes into a cutscene with basically just him getting out of the water, and then he's inside the van with his crew members. The editing is very choppy. It is not that great. It doesn't give us any detail or anything. I wish that they would have actually gave us a little bit more stuff to actually see. And I wanted to see what made these characters want to work with each other and what makes them so good at planning and executing heists. But when Mason is talking to his crew about Plan B, like I said, no one likes the idea. As as someone is watching this for the first time, I was wondering what was the worst case scenario. What would have been if Plan A didn't work? I think that they could have shown us. Now, I think they should have shown us what that when they are planning the heist. After all, we are supposed to be believing that Gardner is good at what he does, but it doesn't show us how he's good at his job at at the start of the film. Instead, we see this plan being played out with each person hired for the heist crashing their car, like I said. So, and then you have Amelia Deckard, who's actually played by Kristen Davis. And like I said, she's been working with this team for 2 years, investigating them. And you don't even see that being laid down. I think that this would have actually worked if they had like a little bit of flashback scenes with these characters to basically get an understanding, maybe set it back about 2 days, 3 days later prior to when the actual heist goes down, to where we can see where the motivation is for them, and then also too we actually get to see Amelia Decker do her investigation, and that can actually be taking place in a different timeline with her in a flashback leading up to this point. And then you get, of course, the other big heist job that we're going to get later on that takes place in this movie, but there's no meat here. It's an hour and 39 minutes or an hour and 40 minutes. I think that this needed to be a little bit more on a time frame of a 2-hour movie, be fleshed out better. Even though I like seeing a 90-minute movie, it's just that I think it would have been better if we got a little bit more runtime with it. Would have been made for a better story if we would have seen her working, like I said. Then you also have Sean, who's played by Lucas Haas. He plays Mason's brother, who plans the heist that I mentioned. After 3 months of escaping the feds, I mean, he decides to resemble Mason's team to break into a bank vault for a huge score. The character tells us he isn't good at planning any of the heist jobs like Mason does, but they don't show Sean planning anything, just like how they don't show his brother Mason planning anything at all. Any of that, and also too planning with this job, it pulls Mason back in to clean up his brother's dirty work. Sean also mentions that Anton is in debt as well, and you don't see what these guys are doing within 3 months and or anything like that either. So I would like to actually see them call up Anton, call up these different characters from 3 months back, be like, "Hey, what are you guys doing? We have something going on." There's no context to it. And then you also have this other thing where you basically have you wind up having Kristen Davis's character, Amelia Deckard. He goes, "Oh, we've been hearing some white noise and on these phones, and there's actually some planning going on." Well, I'm glad that you got to hear the conversation because we didn't get to hear the conversation. It'd be cool if you would actually share that with us, Amelia. That would be great if you would be able to do that, but you didn't. So therefore, we didn't get no context with that. I wanted context whenever it comes down for a certain amount of period of time of what these characters are doing, what they're planning, and then it goes into Sean asking his brother Mason to do a heist job, but it doesn't do that. And the next thing you know, Mason knows that his brother Sean is not going to be able to handle it. So what does he do? He does what any other brother would do. He goes over to where the bank is, where everything's being done. But Sean is outside, and here's the thing: this is how choppy this movie is. Sean is not Sean, but Mason is basically on a dock. It looks like it's the South. I'm not sure, and he's drinking some beers, chugging them down. Next thing, and then Sean winds up leaving after he tells Mason that he's going to be doing this bank job. All of a sudden, he leaves. Sean doesn't show Sean getting on an airplane or anything. All of a sudden, he's in New York and he sees his brother trying to get the bank manager to basically do whatever he wants him to do. And get this, it's not inside the bank that he does it. He does it on a public street, which is stupid. But I understand that's actually part of his character and the characteristic of who his character is, and that Sean has to go on ahead. Not Sean, but Mason has to go ahead and clean up his brother's mess because he's messy, and this is as messy as you can get, you know? And you also have all the other crew members inside the bank already. You have or everybody there. You have Anton there. You also have Link there. Link to me is the best character on the movie itself, played by Natalie Yora, because she's actually the hacker girl who basically hacks into the systems at the bank and stuff like that. I think that she does a really good job of being the hacker, being smart and quick-witted and things like that. I think that she's actually the best one on the crew. But also too, we also have this other crew member who only gets mentioned one time out of his whole entire crew. You mentioned Anton that's in debt, right? But they don't mention Hector. And Hector is the guy who played in the Fast and the Furious movies. And also Training Day and any other movie that you want a gangster named Hector, he's there. He's typecast as Hector. But no one cares about Hector. No one knows what Hector is doing, but we know what Anton's doing. We don't know what Link is doing either or anything. So those two characters, I feel like, just get shoved off to the side and is only focused on Anton. I think that the writing structure could have been done a little bit better to actually make us care about Link a little bit more, about what her situation is and what Hector's situation is. But no, it's all about Anton being in debt, and now so now they have to rob a bank. And also too, this is supposed to be the biggest score, and it's supposed to be a big score for Travolta after 3 months of him, basically laying low. And now he's pulled out of being laying low because now Sean screwed everything up. So that just doesn't work for me as far as that go. Um, yeah, and then also too, the chemistry with all the other members just doesn't work, and it falls flat throughout the movie. The only character that really myself find enjoyable, like I said, is Link. And then the dialogue feels forced. It feels like it was written for a video game for PS2. Just the way that they're talking, and also too, the CGI also looks like something that you would see out of a video game as well. But because of the suspense of the film when they are in the bank and negotiating with the FBI, it also falls flat for me. I mean it, because you're supposed to feel the suspense. You're supposed to feel something, right? It's like, they're in the bank. That's all, and they're negotiating with them. Travolta's team's actually doing everything the cops tell them to do, and they're sending out hostages and things like that. It's going smoothly. This is actually the most smoothest transaction when you look at hostage negotiation. When you look at films, even the Negotiator didn't even have that. But I think that the Negotiator is a better film than this. But this one just doesn't do the trick. It falls flat with the suspense, and the dialogue is not believable. Travolta's trying to do his damnedest to make this work, and it's just not working. Um, then I also feel like this. Okay, the suspense of the film when they are in the bank and negotiating. Okay, so I love the heist movies, but when the movie doesn't give me a reason to care about what the characters are doing or the reason why they are working together, it takes me out of the movie. I'm sorry, it just does. It takes me out of the movie when there's no motivation, there's nothing there. And I want something that I could care about. I want to care about these characters if in case something happens to them, so I can have emotional attachment to these characters. But there's no emotional attachment to the characters. It feels like this movie's just playing it safe and everything too. It just doesn't. It's just not that great. I wanted this to be good. I really did. I didn't want. I know that I seem like I'm just ripping this movie apart, but this is someone that generally just cares about movies, like cares about motivations and plot points and characterization of characters. I guess I just care so much, even though this is a movie that's going to be out in theaters on the 26th. But let's see here. Also, too, I want to mention this is also another thing. The music choices that they may decide on to use for the film. They use this one thing. Okay, I understand when we have dark humor that they use certain music to actually elevate the humor in it, and it's supposed to feel funny. It doesn't feel funny in this. It just doesn't. It just feels like more forced dialogue that we're just eating up, and hopefully that they actually like. Hopefully people will like it. And to do that with the music and trying to make it serious, that takes me out of it because it would be different if the dialogue actually makes sense and it goes along with the music, but no, this doesn't make sense. Then you also have this other thing where it sounds like it's Pitbull hip hop music that's in there, and that actually feels okay, but I just it's just something that worked, but also didn't work, if that makes sense. But and they put in a score that feels like it's supposed to be okay. So, which the editing of the film is also all over the place, like I mentioned, along with the spinning camera angles. Yeah, there's spinning camera angles everywhere. There's not to mention the drone. It seems like Michael Bay. They somebody got inspiration from watching Ambulance and was like, "Hey, look, Michael Bay managed to use a drone. So you know what we're gonna use? What we're gonna use a drone too. And guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna do twisting camera angles and things like that, and zoom in through the cops and all that stuff to create suspense. And you don't need to do that to create suspense to do it. What you're doing is you're making everybody sick to the point where don't this doesn't even feel like an action sequence. It feels like it's all I'm feeling like I'm having motion sickness just watching it. And there's no and with that being said, Cash Out is a movie that I would definitely cash out of and never put my money to see again. And I would actually give this a 2 out of 5 if I'm going to be critically giving a score to something. I'm just like down with it. I didn't like the scoring. I didn't like the editing about it. John Travolta tried to do his best for what he has when it comes down to his acting capabilities. Kristen Davis as the FBI agent. Her stuff was okay, but it could have been better. It could have been better, strengthened up a little bit. The danger elements of it didn't really feel the need for it. Also, too, we also get introduced to this other character that they're robbing, right? And come to find out, they're trying to rob this crypto wallet or whatever, this black box. And so we don't know what's on this black box or anything. We don't know what's going on with it. All of a sudden, now we're introduced to this other bad guy in this movie when this could have just been a straight up heist movie and leave it at that. And I don't think you needed to have that because there was no they don't show this guy until like towards the very end of this, and there's no connection with it. There's nothing there. And they're trying to make this black box into something that someone's trying to keep close to them because it has something dirty on it, and we don't even know what's dirty on it. And it'd be cool if they actually gave us a reason as to what was on there, but they don't. And that's something that I wish that they would have actually expanded on because I think in order for us to make this believable, if you're going to put someone that's a threat that's trying to put this crypto in a bank to cover something up, you need to have him in there in the middle of your film. So that way, if he's a political leader or something like that, you need to have him placed in 15 or 20 minutes of this film. So that way we know for a fact that's what we're going to be covering. All of a sudden, like towards the end, it's like, well, we don't know what to do with the rest of the script. I know what we'll do. We'll go ahead and put this guy in that they're trying to rob from the bank, and hopefully people will like it. What we'll do is we'll make it look like that they're trying to rob the bank, and this guy has this crypto box with a bunch of dirty secrets, and that's it. Okay, that's not a bad idea. We'll just do that. But I don't care. I just wish there was just a normal bank heist movie where they're trying to steal a flash drive or something, and that's it. But no, it's not even that. So, but yeah, this movie is definitely not for me. But I hope that you guys like it, and if you do check it out, tell me what you guys think. I would like to actually know. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and listen to us on all audio formats. Always until next time, guys. Have a great and safe day, and we'll catch you guys.